Hello, welcome to another Gundam Battle Operation 2 video. That is the new suit, the Full Armor Striker Custom. I almost said Full Armor Gundam. Technically, this is not a Gundam, even though it has Gundam head. And yeah, I have two matches here for you, maybe potentially two, depending on how long I talk here. The first match here is, I don't really do super amazing, but I kind of like the teamwork I did with my team, or our entire team, how they work together, so I decided to keep it anyway. And the second match, I do think I do better, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I kind of been all over the place with this suit, because this suit's not really my kind of playstyle of the suit. I mean, first of all, you have like two different kinds of weapons here. You have a majority of weapons where you have to stand still to shoot it, and then you have three melee weapons. And the way they position it is really weird. I'll have to talk about that at a later in the video. But yeah, it's a exam suit, even though technically it's Demon Blade. But yeah, I'm already not good enough at judging when to use exam, and then you combine that with this really kind of awkward melee suit. Yeah, my potential in a match has not been consistent, to say the least. Although I have won a majority of my matches, you know, there are some pretty useful things about this suit. But yeah, when I first saw this suit come out, I saw that it was called a Full Armor Striker Custom. Obviously, the Striker Custom, if you guys aren't aware, is a pretty melee-heavy oriented suit that can just dish out damage and combo. It has combos for days, right? And then I saw there's a Full Armor version of this, and I thought, oh god, they're going to make another close-range support, aren't they? Thankfully, fucking thankfully, this is not a support. And it's not going to embarrass itself when it tries to do something. This is actually a general. And yeah, going into the stats now, this is a 500 general. And you have 18,500 health with 26 ballistic and 20 beam resistance. You have 24 melee resistance, 26 range strength with 10 melee strength. That's a lie. 125 movement speed with 195 boost speed, 55 thruster gauge, and 57 turning speed. That turns into 66 in space. And I do have the stats for the Demon Blade, but I'll save that whenever we talk about the skill itself. And for slots, you have 15 close, 12 mid, and 9 long range slots. Now, even though you do have 10 melee strength, you do have a lot of close range slots. And honestly, the melee is still pretty decent on this suit, to be honest. I actually have a melee build where I have 40 melee resistance. I do have a little bit of beam. I have 30 beam resistance. And I have around 34 melee strength. And yeah, that seems to work quite well for me whenever I get into the mood of starting to whack people with all three of my melee attacks. They can really do some damage, especially against raids, if they're not prepared for it. Especially activating demon mode, yeah, I'm going demon mode, right? Again, we'll talk about that later in the skills. I've seen some other builds, like obviously I've seen thruster gauge builds, which really helps out again with the demon blade mode. I've even seen a turning speed build, and it was kind of funny watching somebody just go in circles like really fast. So if you guys want to do something silly, there's that. Of course, I've seen some people try to focus more on range, but honestly, the range build isn't like super exciting. I say super exciting. You have a lot of low range damage, but they're really useful range weapons, I should say. But yeah, we'll get into it now with the primary weapons. Starting off, you have the FASC Twin Beam Rifle, which is 1,000 damage per shot. With you fire two at a time, with a 45% heat rate and 350 range. And yeah, as I said, you fire twice at a time, or you can cancel it. You can fire one and then cancel, and both shots will instant stun. So this is already a pretty powerful weapon here. In case you miss the first shot, you have a second shot to stun with. So if you're fighting somebody who doesn't have maneuver armor, they're kind of screwed. Especially if you get them in a stun lock with another weapon later on here. Pretty useful for you know, of course, you can walk up to somebody, stunning them, pull out your melee. It's a pretty decent stunning weapon here. It doesn't do too great of damage if you want to consider, you know, people having beam resistance at this cost. It's still decent enough if you hit both shots off. But honestly, yeah, if you're looking for it to get stuns, just pop it once, quickly switch to something else, and then yeah, you won't have to fire twice and risk more heat rate usage. It does have cooldown between a long cooldown between shots, and you can get a total of 4 shots out before overheat. But yeah, again, you can cancel after every shot to help out with that. Next weapon here is your melee weapon for primary weapons. You have the Knuckle Daggers, which is 1,800 damage. This is the same Knuckle Daggers that are on the Striker Custom. However, people notice that this thing actually moves, when you do your melee attacks, it moves slower, and that's because this thing actually has, slower movement speed. So a lot more awkwardness about this weapon comes out whenever it's slower. A lot of people notice that it doesn't really like to hit people lying on the ground if they're gym-sized. Or, yeah, I'll say gym-sized. I've said that before, describing some smaller suits, smaller framed suits. Yeah, if you want to hit somebody with it, make sure you're at a good vantage to hit that downswing or that neutral swing. The side swings actually surprisingly hit further than I think they would. So yeah, it's pretty good for hitting off some damage. Again, you can use your beam rifle straight into the melee, pretty easy. Now onto your secondary weapons, you have the head-mounted Vulcan late model, which is 67 damage, which is really weird. It's not 70 or 60, it's 67. With 30 rounds and 150 range, and these are your basic Vulcans. You can take out pilots, or really low health enemies if you don't have any other weapons readied up. Yeah, they're Vulcans. Next weapon is the Chest Missile Bay ×2, which is 250 damage with 6 rounds and 400 range. And honestly, these are just, if you guys ever played the full armor Gundam, the regular full armor Gundam, the support, those things have those chest missiles that are kind of weird to use. This is just a better version of those chest missiles. The grouping is a lot better at mid-range. You can shoot them, and wherever you aim, they will group up and just wail on top of somebody like a bunch of Tomahawk missiles, right? It takes 3 of the missiles to stun. It is a pretty good stun accumulation. I have actually managed to chase people with it. Since they do fire fast enough to where you can aim ahead of somebody and, get a stun that way, if you want to. However, if they're far enough away, the missiles will start to split off again. So it's not wise to try and hit maximum range unless you're just throwing shit out to hit somebody. You're probably only hit like one missile, maybe 2. Yeah, way better for mid-range. So keep that in mind when you're using these chest missiles. Next weapon is the Leg Missile Pod ×2, 300 damage. Oh, I should also say the chest missile pod you have to, or the chest missile bay you have to stand still to use. The Leg Missile Pod ×2, which is 300 damage per shot with 16 rounds, 350 range. These things don't have really good stun accumulation. They're mostly there just to add on damage. Really useful for when if a teammate gets a downswing off on an enemy, you can follow up on that enemy. If you don't want to, interrupt their melee combo, you can just throw on your missile pods and get some damage that way. I think they have decent leg breaking. I haven't really gotten a chance to really test that out, but it does do some good damage, backup damage. Again, if you don't want to go into the melee while your teammate's doing it, let's say if there's a raid doing it, right? You don't want to come up there and just downswing your own raid when he's about to kill somebody. So, and hey, here comes the end of this first match. Mission completed. Again, I didn't really do too amazing this match, but our raid sure did. I'm going to go ahead and praise him and praise our support, doing really well in the Heavy Gundam, beating his rival. And 7th place, 1 and 2. Again, not too amazing. But hey, next match here, we'll see what we can do. And again, impact side as well. Surprisingly, did not get a whole bunch of Arctic base playing this suit, but I did get a bunch of impact site. These 2 matches I actually were because the match was impact site. But beside, like in randoms, even in randoms, I was getting impact site. So I guess they decided to change it up on me. And hey, you wanted something that's on Arctic base, right? So here you go. Here's impact site. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, next weapon here is the back rocket cannon, which is 1,700 damage with 4 rounds, 450 range. My bad. And yeah, this is basically just a shoulder cannon. You shoot it, get a stun, easy. It has a pretty decent AOE, I should say. And on obviously you can use this to get a initial stun, and then you follow up with your beam rifle. Pretty easy. And it does take a while to ready up, so for a lot of people, that will be their first stun, and then go straight into the beam rifle, or maybe they throw out something, or maybe they go into their melee. All they have to be careful because because you do stand still to fire the weapon, it makes it a little bit more awkward to go into melee. So keep that in mind. Next weapon is the Fukasaku. Sorry, I do not speak Japanese. I can only read it on my phone when it's translating it. So, and that is 2,300 damage. And yeah, it's a basically a katana that looks like it has a beam edge to it, which is kind of weird looking. And yeah, this is your second melee weapon, and for some reason, it only swings once. All your melee weapons are able to swing twice, except for this one. And I want to assume it's because of the damage output of the. It might have a higher melee modifier. I guess. Honestly, the range on this weapon isn't too high. There's been a couple of times where I've tried to follow up on after my knuckle daggers, and then I just completely whiffed the neutral swing on this. The downswing's pretty nice. I do like the downswing. It does a straight just slice on the ground, and it does a lot of damage. Easy to combo with. Just keep in mind that it's one swing only. Next weapon is the Twin Beam Saber Linked, which is 2,400 damage. And yeah, these actually, your third melee weapons, I guess technically, since they're two weapons combined into one. However, they do have a longer ready up time, so a little bit more awkward if you're trying to do a downswing combo. It will take a little bit longer for these weapons to come out, but it does have some pretty good range on it. And yeah, third melee weapon, so you can do melee into melee into melee pretty easily. Yeah. And now for your skills. You have Blast Stabilizer, Balancers, and back level 2 Maneuver Armor, so you don't get stunned while you're boosting. You have Melee Combo Controller, which is 2 melee swings, except for your katana. Keep that in mind. You have Force Injector, so you can boost back and forth, which is pretty good for a full armor suit. Honestly, I kind of forget this is a full armor sometimes, with the way it moves and the speed. You have Explosive Reactive Armor, so if somebody shoots a bazooka at your feet, it will, or near your feet, it won't stun you. If it's a direct hit, it will stun you, though. Keep that in mind. You have Right Arm Equipment Buff for level 3, so if you get hit in the equipment of your right arm, what looks like a shield there, you'll take 30% less damage. Which, yeah, hopefully, you better hope somebody hits you there if they're going for big boy damage. And then you have Leg Buffers. And finally, you have Demon Blade level 2, which is different from Demon Blade level 1. And with Demon Blade level 2, you get a double dodge roll and Force Injectors level 2. And hallelujah, you're a full armor that can do a double dodge roll. Just a dodge roll. Not just that, a double dodge roll. And it looks kind of goofy on the suit because I've never seen a full armor Gundam just do that. It's just kind of funny to see. But yeah, along with the Demon Blade, the stats that get increased, you get 50 melee, you get 140 movement speed with 215 boost speed, and 97 turning speed, which turns into 115 in space. And finally, for every boost you do, it takes 50% off the consumption rate. So yeah, the Demon Blade's pretty nice, and of course, as always, it will buff up your attack, and this will really help out. Again, increases your melee and buffs up your. The melee weapon's already kind of strong when you build for melee in this game. Then you add another 50 melee strength to that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It will tear through a lot of raids and in generals. And again, since you have 3 melee weapons, you can just juggle people for days. That's probably one of the strongest things this suit has. Is just getting that double dodge roll, the thruster gauge consumption. Combine that with your stun capabilities. Yeah, this suit can be pretty strong. Now, this will lead into the pros and cons of this suit. I'll go ahead and start off with the pros. Actually, no, I'll start off with the cons first. And the cons is this suit is it's pretty. For me, it's pretty awkward to play because you have basically two different ways to play trying to combine into one. You have this kind of supporting general kind of play going on. You're full armor, But you also have these 3 melee attacks, and going from the beam rifle stuns, it's pretty fine, but then you have these other weapons where you have to stand still to fire, and it can be a little bit awkward if you're going into melee with that, because that gives the enemy a better chance to move out of your melee attacks, because you're standing still, and you have to get out of standing still to go up and fire at somebody, right? And it can just be a little bit awkward trying to get in for melee, especially coming off those stuns. The weapon placement is also really weird on this suit. Looking at the secondary weapons, when you if you want to start off with a melee weapon, obviously the first one you get on your triangle if you're doing quick swaps is your knuckle dagger. If you want to have a second melee weapon, you have the Fukasaku, but the Fukasaku only has one melee swing, and then the twin beam saber linked has a longer ready up time. And there's something kind of awkward with trying to go switch between the melees in certain situations, especially. I don't think I can articulate exactly what I mean here, unfortunately. There's just something about it that just doesn't feel right. I say that while completely just destroying that Jetta with one, going from melee to melee into a downswing. I guess maybe it's just how I've been playing. Like I said, exam suits and melee suits aren't really my forte in this game, unfortunately. So maybe it's just on my end. I have seen people do some really great things just going off of the Fukasaku and the knuckle daggers. Very rarely do I see people bring up the twin beam saber linked. But then again, if you're a person that really likes playing the Striker Custom, you probably won't have a problem playing this, to be honest. But yeah, going on to the pros here. Actually, another downside for this suit. Actually, well, time out. We'll go over this real fast. Then we'll get to some more downsides. Good works all around, and we'll see what we got going on here today. Mission completed, and hey, top individual and top diversions. Makes sense, got shot at a lot. Gonna praise a few people, and first place, 6-3. So yeah, I did significantly better that match. The damage could have been a lot higher if I knew how to play this kind of suit, but but yeah, another downside for this suit that I feel like is that the range damage is quite low on this suit. I mean, honestly, it probably is for a good reason. If you combine this with the Demon Blade and the utility of your stuns with the damage output of your melee, yeah, I can see why they made the range damage low. So if you're going into this suit, if you want to play this suit for the range only, you're not really playing this suit. You're better off playing another suit like it that has better range game or better range damage. This suit really benefits off of combining this playstyle with the melee playstyle, which goes into the pros here. The pros is that going off that negative, you do have a lot of stun capabilities. The twin beam rifle is really good. You have the rocket cannon on your back. The missile bay pod can actually stun pretty quickly. The only thing that is not really good at stunning is the leg missile pod. I'm pretty sure you can dump the whole thing into somebody, and you won't get a stun out of it. So you want to use all the other stuff, right? And of course, you can juggle somebody with the melee. That's another positive. Another positive is the Demon Blade, which I forgot to say with the Demon Blade. It actually increases your melee priority to melee priority 3. So you're practically playing a raid at that point. I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. So yeah, that is a huge plus side for this suit is the Demon Blade level 2. That really makes the suit kind of stand out amongst the crowd. Just coming in. Imagine the full armored Gundam running at you, just doing sick ass fucking combos on you. That's pretty much what this suit is. Some other upsides is that actually, yeah, it's got some decent skills. I say decent, pretty good skills. Blast stabilizer, maneuver armor, explosive reactive armor, and of course the Demon Blade. If you ever get hit in your right arm, that's pretty good damage reduction. Yeah, that's it for the full armor striker custom. And I gotta say, this is certainly a weird suit, and honestly, I'm not sure if you want to roll for it. You have to be a very specific kind of person, I feel like, if you really wanna get this suit. You either have to be somebody that really enjoys the striker custom, but you want to play it a different way, or somebody kind of likes their melee combo suits a little bit extra to it, right? That's not just melee. And this suit kind of delivers on that. However, you don't want to play just range with it. And honestly, that might be a reason why I also don't want to recommend it. Because like I said earlier, it's a little bit awkward trying to transition between some of your range attacks into your melee. But honestly, as you saw at some points in this match, it's a pretty helpful suit to have at mid-range, and then when stuff starts getting hairy, it can be there for close range. There's actually been a few moments where I activated my Demon Blade and actually saved my support from an enemy raid, because since I have melee priority level 3, I can clash with them and stop them from further killing my support, which is pretty good, honestly. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want, I'd really appreciate it. And, type up in the comment section how you feel about the Full Armor Striker Custom. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Unfortunately for me, it's not my kind of playstyle, but I can really see somebody doing quite well with this suit. Melee-wise, again, the range damage isn't there, but the stun capabilities are. It's almost like the last suit we had, the Gogook, the Zagat Gogook. I can't remember the name. GK, there we go, the Gogook GK. Where the range damage is not that high, but the stun capabilities is quite high, and you can run in and just get shit done with your melee attacks. So it's a pretty interesting suit, and if you do like interesting suits, then sure, go ahead, roll for this. But if you're not somebody who likes exam suits or melee suits, then obviously you probably want to stay away from this. But hey, if you really like Striker Custom, this is the suit for you. It can do quite well. It has... I don't want to say more combo potential than the Striker Custom, because it is missing the sick-ass Electric Godfist that the regular Striker Custom has. It doesn't have that super big boy damage. But, yeah, I think that's going to be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.